Hey guys, it's Kingdom Orange 2 here, and welcome back to my channel. Number 5 in this series is the fairy that fate completely pretended like didn't exist, Tecna. And just like every other video you've seen, I will be dividing Tecna's spells into 3 categories and won't be including spells that don't meet my criteria, which you probably already know by now. Anyways, without further ado, let's get on to the rankings. Attacks. Number 25 is Protective Force Field. This spell was so bad that even Tecna herself was shocked when she used it. Also, Protective Force Field clearly should have been the name of a defense spell and not an attack, or maybe the name is some sort of production error. Number 24 is Firewall. This spell is really confusing. It's supposed to be an attack spell, but I guess it could be a defense spell. I didn't even really know where to place it. Also, Tecna has 800 better spells where she creates technological cages like this. Number 23 is Magic Cage. Speaking of technological cages, for a spell named Magic Cage, it doesn't really create a cage around the griffin. Lame. Number 22 is Technoblast. I don't even understand what's going on with this spell. Tecna literally shoots it at Anakin and then there's this huge explosion. But Technoblast is so poorly animated, you can hardly see the attack. Number 21 is Electric Beam. It's just 2 balls of light that Tecna throws at the mermaid. The name is kind of cool though. Number 20 is Wire Beam. It's literally the exact same spell as Electric Beam, except it shoots 3 balls of energy instead of 2, which obviously makes it better. Number 19 is Chill Breath. The name of this spell reminds me of the feeling you get after you chew like really minty gum. Number 18 is Lightning of Zenith. I actually really like the name Lightning of Zenith, but I don't think this attack would make the people of Zenith proud. It's a bit bland to look at. Number 17 is Biorhythmic Blast / Biorhythmic Flow. The name is a total mouthful, and I have absolutely no idea what biorhythmic means, but I do think the streams of energy it creates are decent, I guess. Number 16 is Megawatt. This spell is saved simply by the fact that it has a totally kick-ass name, because overall Megawatt is pretty boring. However, I do like how it looks when Tecna hits the giant spider's nest with it. Number 15 is Electric Storm. Electric Storm has so much potential to be Tecna's best spell. Instead of creating a huge storm of electricity, we get a couple of green blasts. I like the way Tecna ferociously throws it at Ogron. I feel like it sort of lives up to its name in that scene, but could the animators just give us a bit more to look at? Number 14 is Digital Glitch. Overall, spell's design is kind of mediocre. However, I do really like the look of the static electricity beams that Tecna shoots, and the static sound effect the animators added in when she uses it. It adds to the spell's ambiance, I guess. Number 13 is Static Sphere. I struggled with ranking this one because Tecna uses a lot of cages that look exactly like this, but as shields and not attack spells. I actually really love the idea of trapping an enemy in an electric cage, and both sequences of Tecna using Static Sphere are really interesting. However, it wouldn't be completely fair for me to place it against other attack spells, so I ranked it in the middle of the list. Number 12 is Prismatic Ray. I guess only now did I finally realize that the writers essentially gave each of the Winx the exact same Butterflix attack spell, but I can't deny that the butterfly effect added on the spell's beam of light doesn't really look fantastic. I still don't understand the naming behind this spell because it's definitely not a prism. Number 11 is Mental Puzzle. This spell is great. The name Mental Puzzle really reflects how Tecna is trapping her opponent in this confusing cage, and I enjoy the look of the beam of light Tecna launches. I absolutely love how the animators made these shapes spin around as Tecna throws it. I honestly would have ranked it higher, but I felt like the sequence of her using it was just way too short. Number 10 is Genesis Blow. For all intents and purposes, this is just another basic attack spell. Yet, what I really love about it is the hexagonal shapes that form around the stream of light when Tecna launches it. I would also say that the name Genesis Blow has really stuck out to me, but probably because I don't understand why they named a spell after the first book of the Bible. Number 9 is Techno-Magical Union. Something about the name Techno-Magical Union goes really hard for me. It's a shame though that we only get to see this spell for such a short amount of time, because I love how it turns the rocks Flora created into switchboards and makes the electricity attack Mandragora. Number 8 is Plasma Sphere. Technically, Plasma Sphere isn't that great in both name and appearance. However, the scene of Tecna hurling it towards Avalon as Flora tells her not to is truly iconic, and for such a small sphere of light, it appears as though it causes a lot of damage. I mean, Tecna literally blew a hole through the building. Number 7 is Technoshock. I give Technoshock some credit because I think it does sort of live up to its name. I love how after it hits the target, it creates this semi-small light explosion. I sort of wish there was a bit more shock done to the enemy, but I really like the design of the sparkly purple and green balls of light it creates. Number 6 is Techno Kick. Okay, you guys already know how much I love these Cyranix kick and punch spells, so clearly Tecna's wasn't going to have a low ranking. Number 5 is Techno Punch. Like I've already said, I prefer the punches to the kicks. However, one thing I really admire about Tecna's punch is that she actually punches the enemy when she uses it, because sometimes the girls will just launch the spell from their fists instead. Number 4 is Storm of Numbers. The name Storm of Numbers seems pretty juvenile, but I really appreciate the creativity of using binary numbers as an attack. Also, you really can't deny how good this spell's design is. Number 3 is Digital Strike. This spell is very similar to Genesis Blow, as Tecna has those hexagonal effects that surround it. However, the name Digital Strike is fantastic, and I absolutely love how when Tecna launches it from the palm of her hands, the beams of light just keep going and going and going. Number 2 is Magnetic Storm. I just adore the name Magnetic Storm and how Tecna yells it before she throws the attack. I also really love the way the streams of electricity look when they attack Hagen's robots, and how the robots sort of just fizzle away. Number 1 is Combi Blast. It's a bit tough for me to explain why this spell is just so good. I think part of it is that this attack is pretty simple but effective. I like how instead of Tecna hurling another energy ball, she throws a computer chip at the enemy, which causes them to explode. This probably wouldn't work against like the tricks, but it's a fun and practical way of defeating monsters. Defense. Number 17 is Protective Energy Field. I really kind of hate these boring dome-shaped shields, and this is another perfect example of that. Also, the name is way too on the nose. Number 16 is Super Prism. What really sucks about Super Prism is the name is literally perfect, but the shield isn't prism-shaped. It's just another dome. Number 15 is Shield. So I did cheat a little because one time this spell is actually called Firewall, but I had to separate them to make this ranking fair. Regardless though, this defense spell itself is still rather uninteresting and boring to look at. Number 14 is Defender Plate. I actually really like the plate part of this spell's name, but I hate the name Defender Plate. Also, Tecna keeps calling this shield Super Prism, which doesn't even make sense because Defender Plate isn't even shaped like a prism either. Number 13 is Digital Net. So I appreciate how Tecna can use this shield to protect herself and others, and I think this scene of her using it with Flitter is very cute. However, overall, it's just a green orb. Number 12 is Electric Barrier. I feel like the name itself is the only good thing about this defense spell. I don't necessarily hate the look of the shield, but I feel like it's too diamondy looking and doesn't showcase Tecna's specific powers. Number 11 is Particle Net. I'm a little torn on to where to place this spell because the shield it creates is massive and kind of cool looking. However, it looks so similar to another shield Tecna uses later in this season that I almost wonder if this was some sort of production error. Number 10 is Virtual Projection. The name is fantastic, and I really like how the shield itself looks. Unfortunately though, we see it for such a small amount of time on screen, it makes it a bit hard to rank. Number 9 is Neon Splice / Virtual Protection. This shield sort of reminds me of like a Pringle chip, but I kind of like it for that. My main issue with this defense spell though is that it doesn't really look that good in the 3D scenes. Also, Virtual Protection would have been the better name, but it's way too close to Virtual Projection. Number 8 is Organic Cube / Organic Shield. I give this shield some points because I absolutely love the hexagonal look of it. I think though, both Organic Cube and Organic Shield are terrible names for this spell. Organic Cube more because this shield isn't even cube shaped. Number 7 is Virtual Shell. I give them 10 out of 10 points for the name Virtual Shell. It's really fantastic. The design itself is also really good, but I just think there are a couple more shields that look better. 6 is Energy Barrier / Power Shield / Virtual Shield. I just really love the uniqueness of Tecna using a shield of numbers to protect herself. I wish this defense spell was a bit easier to see through, and also, I think that none of the names they gave this shield actually work that well for me. Number 5 is Electro Cage. I mentioned earlier in this video that I do really like the way these electric giant shields that Tecna creates look. However, the issue I have with Electro Cage is that Tecna doesn't get inside of it. She just uses this awkward cage as a shield. That's like covering your face with a basketball. Number 4 is Laser Cage. So for all the spells that are essentially the same concept as this shield, Laser Cage is the best name out of all of them. Now this ranking was a bit tricky because in its first appearance, Laser Cage does look exactly the same as Electro Cage, but at least she puts Timmy inside of the shield this time. Also, one reason that I ranked it higher is because I absolutely love the way this spell looks when she uses it against the fairy pets. I'm obsessed with how the shield sort of molds to fit around each of their bodies. Number 3 is Logic Net. Part of me wants to complain about how the animators designed this shield because it's a bit hard to see, yet I still really like the insane amount of detail they drew onto the sphere. It makes it look more elegant and sort of expensive. Also, I just love the scene of Tecna using Logic Net against the monster in Lake Rocaluce. I find it funny how she constantly waves her arms up and down to secure the shield. Number 2 is Globotronic Wall. I have to simply start by acknowledging the name Globotronic Wall is actually horrible. However, something about how Tecna casts this defense spell from her fist makes it really fascinating. It also seems to be very functional as Tecna uses Globotronic Wall to stop the leaking oil pipes. I guess this shield isn't that strong though, as Tecna complains in one scene how quickly she's losing control of it. Number 1 is Digital Room. This defense spell isn't even the most stylistically interesting, but for some reason, I just really like it. I enjoy the shape of the shield. It kind of reminds me of a big cube of jello. And even though at first I was going to criticize this spell for being named Digital Room instead of Digital Cube, I think the name Digital Room actually fits quite well because this shield is so big. Special. Number 13 is Superior Order. I'm so sorry guys, you know I don't really care about these special sophic spells at all. I don't even understand what Tecna is saying when she gives her little speech about her power, like what the hell is a microcosm? Number 12 is Harmony Blast. Not only does this special spell have really nothing to do with technology, but it creates these morphic style speakers, which is definitely Aisha's thing. Number 11 is Tech Squirrel Flash. I really enjoy this spell's name and somewhat of its ability. However, the sequence of Tecna using it is super long and uninteresting. I also don't know when else this spell would ever be used. Number 10 is Oxygen Bubble. In terms of practicality, this spell is actually really useful, and I typically place practical spells higher in my rankings. However, similar to Tecna's Laser Cages, this type of spell I feel like is a bit overused in this show, and creating a sort of air purifier isn't that interesting to me. Number 9 is Lux Luminous. I sort of want to give Lux Luminous a high ranking because I absolutely love the name and think the spell's ability is very unique, but the Winx never struggle with being able to see underwater, so it feels a bit odd to create a spell for this. It's sort of how I feel about Crystal Sirenix, if that makes any sense. Number 8 is Central Processor. So in the past with my rankings, I typically place these special spells the Winx use in Season 2 very high. However, it finally dawned on me that these spells are kinda useless unless they're all put together. So it would be really cool to give an inanimate object a brain, but unless you had everyone else's powers, then not much would happen. Number 7 is Oil Delete. This spell gets definitely clowned on because the sequence of Tecna using it and the fact that the name is literally in the spell makes it seem cheesy and uninteresting. To me though, Oil Delete is low-key iconic, and if Tecna spent about 2 years straight, she could probably clean up all the spilled oil on Earth. Number 6 is X-Ray Vision. So here's the thing about X-Ray Vision. Yes, the spell name is very on the nose, but for me it still works well, and I think the idea of Tecna being able to use X-Ray Vision is pretty neat. My main issue though is that Tecna has special spells that are sort of functionally similar to X-Ray Vision, and are just better looking and more interesting. X-Ray Vision would have probably benefited if we saw it used more than just one time in the show. Number 5 is Cosmix Analysis. Tecna can use Cosmix Analysis to find out more information about something or someone, and what I think makes this spell so great to me is not only its function, but also the scenes of Tecna using it. When Tecna casts Cosmix Analysis while on the Star of Coralia, not only is this scene very well animated, but I like how Tecna's voice actress sounds like she's about to cry or something. I don't know, I just always really love that for some reason. Number 4 is Virtual Flow. You guys know how I always say that I love these long melodramatic spell sequences, and Virtual Flow definitely delivers in that regard. However, I would argue that the sequence of Tecna using Virtual Flow is way too long, and I just don't feel that strong emotional attachment to it that I do with Musa using Voice of Cyrenix or Bloom using Dragon Fury. I will give Virtual Flow some credit though, because I do really like how Tecna essentially becomes one with Techno Magic. That effect looks really awesome and was fun to watch. Number 3 is Aura of Cyrenix. On one hand, I do actually think that Aura of Cyrenix is one of the best Cyrenix special spells, and seeing Tecna use it against the Electropus in the simulation was a really great scene. My problem though is that Tecna uses Aura of Cyrenix so many times in just one episode that it quickly loses its shine for me. But I guess if you really think about it, this kind of happens with all of the Winx's special Cyrenix spells. Number 2 is Gem of Mind. Usually I would never rank these special Believe X powers so high. However, Gem of Mind is actually very useful. Tecna does succeed in getting these two girls to stop fighting, even if she technically failed in getting them to believe in fairies. If you really think about it though, Tecna could use this power to like end military conflicts or prevent world wars. Number 1 is Techno Magic Vision. Hands down the best of Tecna special spells. It's somewhat similar to both Cosmic's Analysis and X-Ray Vision, but it's overall just way better looking. I absolutely love this spell's design and think it's so fun how Tecna's eyes turn into these holographic computer lenses. Really, my only complaint here would be that we only get to see Techno Magic Vision used once in the show. If you liked this video today and want to see more content in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you soon. Bye!